Okay, so I haven't finished the sequel to The Three Body Problem. The sequel is titled The Dark Forest. I have not finished reading the book. I'm right here. I'm 117 pages in, and I had to stop reading it because the writing was just so laughing, joking, numbnuts, hilarious. So there's three major fucking things in the first part of the book that I have to comment on that are just major critiques. And maybe this is just like Asian authors just can't do characters. I have no idea. Actually, no, there's four. Let's hope I remember them all. So, number one, there is no plot development until page like 105. The only drop of plot that you get in the first 105 pages of this 500 fucking page book is in the advert page. So there's the prologue. So the book starts here, The Dark Forest. Maybe you can't see that. The Dark Forest. It starts here. And we have a prologue. So if we dial it back, we have a page where we introduce like 40 fucking characters. Mind you, none of them matter. Only two characters matter. And on the advert page with the advert from NPR, maybe you can read that. This is where the plot begins. This is the only part that even references the wall facers, other than one part that references a wall breaker. And the whole plot, the whole shilling of the book is the wall facer project. We are only given a drop of plot in a paragraph before the advert page that's not even a part of the actual book. It's before the prologue. And the prologue is fucking horribly written, mind you. It is the worst thing I've ever read in my life. I'm not even going to talk about it. It's so fucking bad. Read it for yourself to find out. But anyway, so no plot development. That's one. 105 pages, no plot. Okay. Number two, there's a point in the book where the main character is talking about basically creating a Tulpa GF. So if you don't know what a Tulpa GF is, I'm embarrassed that I even know what this is. I only know about it from 4chan, but basically it's like a girlfriend or like a waifu, but they exist solely in your brain. And like your entire relationship is just like literal headcanon. Like you just like imagine yourselves going on dates and shit like that. And maybe you have like some kind of psionic link. That's my understanding of it. I could be totally fucking wrong. So there's a whole segment where this guy is talking about, how he created his Tulpa GF, and he created it due to being asked to write a book by the one girl that he maybe ever loved. And this just goes on. This is the longest interrupted story segment in the whole book. So the book doesn't have chapters. There's no chapters. There's segments of the book. I'm on the first segment. And then the second segment happens in like part 2, the spell. And that happens in page, they just didn't put page 191. Okay. So in 191, that's essentially the first chapter. And then in the first chapter, there is no unbroken story segments. It's just random shit happening. There will be like they hit like return twice in the book. And then it'll be a whole new character and a whole new fucking stupid scenario that you couldn't even imagine. There's a side story about Chinese boomers getting scammed for like some escape plan, and mind you, the moment we learn about this stupid story of the main character creating a Tulpa GF, that's the part where the plot is like about to begin. Now it's ironic because he's thinking about all this while he's on a plane, but the plot hasn't even left the fucking runway. It's fucking insane. And it gets even more ironic. You won't believe it. Because during this segment where we're imagining our Tulpa GF, the girlfriend character has the audacity to talk about writing, and the two characters are like discussing modern literature and how, all these old authors, they created characters that were like living people that were like beyond their control, and they just imagined them, and they were creating like biographical stories of fictional people. Essentially, that's the depth of their fictional minds, and then they have the audacity to say that modern authors can't touch this. Now it's kind of interesting. It makes you wonder, like, does the author realize, like, where does the author of this book place themselves? There's no way this author of this book places themselves as somebody who's able to make characters that are that richly and deep as described in the book. So hopefully he recognizes that he's not good at writing characters. Also, the sexism is back in force. Anytime there's a woman in the story, she's always described as being, 90% of the time, they're always described as being attractive with some way. They're petite, they're feminine. They're the fact that they are a woman, the author will never let you forget. The author will always bring up her feminine voice, her petite frame. She looks so small. This author is a fucking lolicon. He's obsessed with feminine adjectives, traditionally feminine adjectives to throw onto things. It is insane. It is fucking wild how often these describers, anytime there's a woman, boy, you're going to fucking know. The author will never let you forget. So that's number 2. Number 3, there's a part, I actually forgot number 4, but number 3, there's a part where the main character is introduced as being the 4th wall facer. The wall facer project is basically, there's going to be these people, a part of human society, that are going to develop plans to fight the aliens solely in their brains. That sounds fucking stupid, and it is. But that's their plan, because the aliens have sophons that can like basically see all of humanity, in the empirical world, but they can't read your mind. Now, mind you, if you're smart, what are you thinking about right now? You know what you're thinking about? Encryption. That's right. Aliens can see words, they can understand language, and they have universal translators apparently, or like whatever the fuck. But if you encrypt a message, if you make a secret message that only one person could interpret properly, oh my God, you can send a message to somebody. So rather than announcing to the world who the wall facers are, so the Sophons know who they are, so the assassins of the ETO, the Earth Trisolarian Organization, can try to kill the wall facers, you could leave them clues to let them know they're a part of this project that makes them go insane. But eventually they come to realize that, I am a part of this project and I can just command people to do things, so like everybody like knows. So in how I would rewrite the story, I would have it that the main character is slowly getting drip fed these like weird notes, weird things start showing up on his computer and things like that. And he's kind of losing his mind. But then eventually he realizes the truth that he's a part of this program and he has to do this thing. And then that's it. But in the book, instead, they announce essentially to the world who all the wall facers are, and now everybody who is a part of like who's Team Trisolaran literally wants to kill them. Why? Am I retarded? Am I fucking taking stupid pills? Is that not the stupid a program that necessitates itself on secrecy you're announcing to the world? Why? What? Am I? I don't know. So, that's dumb. Okay, I remember the 4th thing now. So the 4th thing is, the main character says that he renounces this job. He doesn't want it. And then first he asks, can I not do this job? And then the UN lady is like, you may. You may. And then she just says like, you may, and it's like a comedy bit. And then he like gets attempted assassinated, and then he goes and speaks with the secretariat of the UN, even though the one guy says like she doesn't have any power or something, and he's like, am I still a wall facer? And it's like an Abbott and Costello bit or some shit. It's hilarious. And then the dude he learns. I'm gonna read this to you. Okay, this is fucking hilarious. Okay. So it finally dawns on him the situation that he's in. Okay. How are we supposed to know whether or not you have already started work? So the main character comes to the realization that they don't know if he's joshing or not. They don't know if he's joking about not being a wall facer or not. They have to sincerely go along with everything he says, but they're never going to strip him of his wall facer position or authority. They all are assuming that this is a part of his con, that he's like, I'm not going to be a wall facer. And then they're all like, oh, yes, sir, you are not a wall facer. And then he'll be like, go get me the president of the United States. And then somebody will disappear for like, 2 lines in the book, and they'll come back and they'll be like, oh, sir, the president is waiting for you in his office right now. And be like, oh no, bring the president here. My feet hurt. And he's like, okay, the president's on his way right now, sir. And that would be it. And he'll be like, am I still a wall facer, Mr. President? It's like, are you fucking stupid? But now, if you're a smart individual, how would you write this realization? Now, maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe Chinese people are just so different culturally that, like, this is how a Chinese person would come to this understanding. That, like, oh, they don't know when I'm Josh or not. So, of course, I'm part of the Wallfacer Project still. But, like, oh, my gosh. Here's how I would come to understand it. Regardless of if you want to be a part of the program after the program's been announced, and they didn't tell anyone beforehand, they just were like, oh, hey, surprise, you're a part of this program. Regardless of if you want to be a part of it or not, the fact that they acknowledge that you're a part of it, the fact that they consider that you will be a part of it, all those considerations, all that pre-decision making has already locked you in to being a part of the program. Because regardless of if you're in it or not, the ETO wants to kill you. Because if the Planetary Defense Council deems you necessary enough to be a part of this, the most important program essentially to defend the planet, of course the ETOs gonna want to kill you, regardless of if you're a part of the program or not. So you're essentially locked in to being a part of the program. You have no agency. You have to go along with it. You're fucked. You know, like you can't just renounce it and go back to be like. At one point he's like, oh no, I renounce all my security guard. The New York Police Department will be strong enough for me. And he's like, I don't deserve this extra level of security. It's like, they're gonna try to kill you anyway, dude. What the fuck? Are you stupid? It's actually hilarious. Like that would be how I would come to the understanding. Like, but rather than being intelligent, the main character is like very stupid. And then everyone, it's kind of funny though. Like everyone in the book makes fun of the main character because his name in Chinese means logic, and they're like, dude, you're pretty fucking stupid, dude. And well, they don't say he's stupid, but they're like saying he's like being illogical, which is true. And I guess it's like a book hint that like, oh, he's gonna come to the realization. But then his logical side is like, oh, they think I'm Joshin. That's like, that's not logic. That's like more social logic. And when people say logic, they usually mean like more of a cold, emotionless kind of logic. You know, the kind of stuff that I just described. Not the, they all think I'm Joshin. I'm not. They all think I'm having a giggle, mate. You know, like what the fuck? There's one more stupid thing in the book, okay? So there's one other stupid part. Well, there's a lot of stupid parts, but this is the one that's entertaining. The rest of them are just boring, okay? So there's another fun part where some boomers are talking about escapism. And escapism is like a thing in the book where essentially, in the future, people want to like have the ability to like escape. Like, okay, aliens are coming to destroy the Earth, and oh no, we need to escape. That can be one of our things because they're going. No, this is my argument. This argument is not brought up in the book, okay? But this is my argument, okay? Oh, aliens are coming. We are building a fleet to fight them. We're going to build these things, okay? At the same time, we can just send out some ships. We got 450 years. The technology is basically the same. We can just send out some ships to escape so humanity can live. And every character who says is pro-escapism in the book is essentially like a Chinese boomer idiot. And every person who's like anti-escapism is literally presented as a philosopher king. And they're like, oh, don't you know escapism would never work? Don't you know that humanity could never tolerate inequality? And there is no worse inequality than inequality of survival? Humanity would fall apart if we had such an inequality. When I read that line, I legit thought, like, China must be the greatest country on earth if they don't have an inequality of survival. Now, if you have ever seen like mortality rate things, the mortality rate differences between races, due to, you know, lots of factors. Just go to the Indian Health Service and type in mortality rate. Type in Indian Health Service mortality rate, you'll probably fucking get it. And then tell me how humans are so bad at stomaching, an inequality of fucking surviving or life and death. Humans seem to be pretty fucking good at it because there is a great inequality and disparity amongst the death rates between different races living in the same fucking country. Now maybe that's just America's problem. Maybe in China, all the fucking the Uyghurs or Uyghurs or whatever the fuck how you say the name, maybe they're not humans to the Chinese, so they don't count as a disparity of fucking life and death. But what the literal fuck is that line? Like how I feel like, and this is maybe just like the Chinese like communist brain rot, but anytime there is like an organization presenting a solution to a problem, the organization is generally always, when it's the good organization, there's like one bad organization, the Earth Trisolarian organization that's trying to help the aliens. But all the human Chinese organizations are essentially like giga alpha genius chads that are always have the right answer to everything. And then anytime there are people who are against it, it's like the stupid populace who doesn't get the smartness of the world. There's like a Carl Sagan 2.0 guy who's introduced in the most incoherently written chapter. Like, you ever have that kind of writing where the author is purposefully not disclosing information about the scene to drip feed you information to bait your attention because the scene itself isn't actually very interesting, so the author needs to make it more mysterious by drip feeding very mundane details, but then starts the scene off as if it's like this huge dramatic event. That's the first fucking scene after the main character is introduced as being a wall facer. That's the first fucking scene, is that it's written exactly like that. I mean, I'm going to keep reading it. There are cool things that happen later in the book, but boy, the first 100 and whatever, 17 pages, I mean, I wouldn't say the writing is bad, but the narrative writing from getting from here to there is non-existent. Bonus stupid thing, the main character is abducted, is taken on a plane, on a 16-hour plane ride, and then taken to the UN. And at no point, well, he does at one point think to ask, and he's like, but if they had anything to tell me, they would tell me. He never asks what's going on. And then one of the characters shows up and he's like, we don't know anything going on more than you. So the whole time he thinks it's because some girl got killed in a car accident in front of him in China. It's like, dude, this is clearly bigger than that. And then he's at the UN and he's like looking around and they're announcing all the wall facers. He's at the UN and then he's like, okay, the fourth wall facer. And he's described as like, who is it? Who's the fourth wall facer? Where are they? Where? I'm looking around. I'm looking at the seats. Where are they? And then the lady announces, Luo Ji, you're the fourth wall facer. Come on down. And then it fucking, well, there aren't chapters, but chapter end, bam. And then it starts the boring story about the fucking Hubble telescope 2.0 or whatever. It's like, dude, why did you think you're there? Are you a part of the UN? Why else would you be there? Come on, dude. I mean, part of it, it's like humility, but part of it, it's like, dude, why else were you here? Come on, my dude. Also, mind you, the book has not addressed why he's even selected. They haven't brought it up. I mean, I know why, and the reason I know why is because I read the prologue and I have a fucking brain, but I read the part here. Now it doesn't say why, but he's an astronomer and a sociologist. And so like, so he's those things, and he was chosen for this fancy program, and everyone else who's been chosen is like very important, and he's like pretty unassuming. But then you read the prologue. And I said I wouldn't talk about this, but I'm sorry, I guess I am. So in the prologue, a prominent character from the last book shows up and just tells the character in this book to develop a whole new kind of fucking science. And she's like, and here's exactly how it would work. And then she's like, okay, time to go. And then she's never in the book again. She shows up to tell the main character of this book what to do to make the plot work and then leaves. Which is exactly what happened in the last book. The main criticism in the last book is characters just show up, dump their life story or dump plot relevant things, and then leave. And then the first thing that happens in this book is the same fucking thing. And then this guy has the audacity to criticize other modern authors. What the fuck? Oh, also, I have to comment on the translation, Joel Martinson. I would say generally I like the translation better, but there are some times where there's some words used that it's like, excuse me. There's a part where they use the word schadenfreude or whatever, and there's another part where they use a word that I've never seen before in my life, and that's fun, right? It's fun when you see new words and learn new words, but when the word is like not 18th century, but it's like a word that nobody uses, it feels like, unless the Chinese required such an arcane word, I don't think that's an appropriate translation. Okay? Like, I don't know. I've taken like 5 years of second language classes. I can't imagine an instance where you would use such an arcane word to bungle the translation more. I don't know. Maybe I'm fucking stupid. I could be wrong on that. That could be a total debate thing. I don't know. But it's just, when I read, I'm looking at, what the fuck is this word? This is such a strange word to use. Like, I would never try to make something more complicated by using more fancier words to improve my own prose over the translation source. Like, and obviously you want to like try to match the translation, match the source material. But it to me, my interpretation of that is that the translator is trying to make it even more fucking like, look how fucking smart I am. Because to me, Cixin Louis doesn't seem to be that kind of author, but I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong, and that's fine. Anyway, that I just had to make a video about the first 117 pages because I was just laughing my ass off at just how goofy. I don't know. There's some good stuff ahead. You know, there's some good stuff ahead. Because I know spoilers, but if I didn't know spoilers, I would have dropped this book because holy fuck, it is just so fucking boring. It's the worst thing a book can be, which is boring. It's only funny because I'm laughing at it. The book is rarely funny on its own. Anyway, that's the. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.